And then once I dove into it to understand really how the equipment and what state the equipment is, it's like a black hole. It's the worst thing that I've gotten into because you understand how dangerous it is for the soldiers who don't have the right equipment and the difference between the equipment that they have and the equipment they need is life and death. You want to check that there are really people who need it, and they're afraid to give me their names and the units because the army is now looking for soldiers who get equipment from outside. So they're now afraid to go into army jail because they got good equipment from donors outside of Israel.
But generally, um, I know certainly in the reserves that a lot of soldiers have just said, "Listen, if you take our equipment away, I'm going home." So
Yeah.
that's been a good response to making sure that they are able to receive the proper equipment. The other thing is, as we started diving into the issue more, we realized that the standard doesn't really exist because they'd say, okay, it has to, soldiers are only allowed to receive helmets from these four companies. And then you say, well, what is it about these four companies? And they say, well, it has to be from these four companies.
Yeah.
So I said, that's not a standard. That's just saying that you prefer to purchase from these four companies. But then they wouldn't offer a standard. And as we dug in more and more, you realize that there's a little more to that story. So, it's been
Right.
great working together to make sure that we can help people with those get better equipment. Um, it's still crazy to me that this is the situation, how we got there. When you were in, obviously you're in an elite unit, but when you had friends who were in quote unquote more normal units, was it just an established fact that people had terrible equipment? Like when they went to Miluim, it would just be, oh, I'm wearing terrible equipment, it doesn't
I,
work.
so sadly, I don't know because I never dove into this problem as deep as I have now. But I think that the general state was that yeah, we this is what we have, and that's it. I really hope it. I just think that what happened problem something that, for example, they invested in the border between Israel and Gaza that turned out to be a huge failure. And then instead of putting money in places where it would actually help, they put all the money there and they put all our eggs in one basket, and that basket completely got destroyed. And I think that, or at least I hope that from now on they'll plan it much differently. That if we need to go into battle, we'll have the right equipment to do it, and we won't rely only on some fictional border.
And again, it's just interesting strategically and interesting to see how it plays out. Um,
Yeah.
how are you doing mentally after everything you saw on October 7th?
So I think I'm doing okay. I think I also figured out the reason why I'm doing okay, is because I kind of set myself on a new mission since I got injured. That mission is to also tell my story in universities and colleges and also raise money for equipment. And those missions kind of set me on a good path. And I kind of turned my story into a way to achieve those missions, and it made it okay for me to talk about everything. And it put me in a good place. Yeah, I think I'm doing okay.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and
Yeah.
everyone's loved every single presentation. There's so many people that are going around telling so many